Hi and welcome to a Mystic Dude Diablo 4 video. So just to warn you before we start, this video might get a bit long, so feel free to cherry pick the bits that might interest you and skip ahead. So in this video I'm going to be discussing my barbarian build in the season. So as you can see, I've got this lovely lady, facing looking lady. I really like this transmog at the moment. Up on the screen, she's my level 94 season. This barbarian's my level 100 eternal. Why? You're asking? Did you roll a barbarian mystic for the season, not another character? Well, at the time, my decision was based on the stash space. I wanted to try different builds. I didn't have stash, so I just rolled another barbarian. Was it a bad decision? Yeah, probably. It's a bit late now. I'm at level 94, so yeah. Hopefully, when this character goes back onto the Eternal Realm with the pure state of the stash, I'll be able to have two characters with different builds, so I can have maybe a bleed build, rupture build on one character and a Hota build on another, without having to mess around changing stats and everything all the time. I like playing the barb. I wanted to try other builds. That's why I've got two characters. Right, so let's move into the game, and what we're going to do, we're quickly just going to discuss what I've done on this build as a Hota. It is a load of fun. It is ranked very poorly on the a lot of content creators. They're ranking them as like 5 out of 5. You know, everything else is above it. Uh, there has been an improvement since the last patch to the double swing build. I haven't had time to look into that yet. I'm still busy leveling this up. I wasn't going to do the video till level 100, but this is playing that well. There's not going to be much changes to it. I'll quickly show you where we are with it and try and discuss a couple of options. So first we'll quickly go through the gears, and I'll highlight them all now before I start turning on. Then you can fast forward or just pause and stop and look at each one. And while I'm doing that, we will show where the stats are as well. Because I know some people like to look at the stats to compare where they are, you know, with somebody else. It's not always something you can do in game. It would be nice if you can compare, because it sort of gives you a benchmark. In Diablo 3, you can compare yourself to the players with the same builds and gear sets on the ladder and look at what they're doing as opposed to you. So in Diablo 4, unless you're following a guide for everything, you know, then you won't know whether you're going right or wrong, and it is confusing and overly convoluted for a lot of players. So we'll just quickly look. So pretty much to me, standard build. There's a couple of changes I've done on this one as opposed to my Eternal Realm. So on the helm, cooldown, armor, yeah, that's the ones you're looking for. The strength there was a bonus, so I left it on. The max life, you know, it just is what it is. I'm not going to talk through every aspect as it will take too long, but you'll see them come up. So that's got iron skin, that's the damage reduction. The chest, it's not too bad. I've got total armor, 4 ranks of iron skin, great defense for that. This is where I change to a lot of other people. A lot of other builds tend to run stomp. I love the iron skin. With 4 ranks, it gives you a good defense. I'll just highlight it down here. As you can see, 85% of your missing life for 5 seconds. And I've also will come to it on their 3 ranks of defensive. And we'll quickly just go to the skill tree for where it is, and I'll show it you, just in case you're wondering. So there we go. We've got 8 out of 5, and we've got, where was it? Yeah. So we've got 29% more of your maximum life there, and we've got the 10% heal. So it's not only a good damage reduction, it's also a good heal. And as you saw on the flavor text there, it grants unstoppable. So basically unstoppable if you see seed, if you're stun locked, and as we know there's a problem in this game with stun locks, freeze locks, whatever you want to call them, daze locks, unstoppable gets you out of it. So yeah, so it's nice to have that extra unstoppable. So on the chest, going back to the chest, let's say we've got armor. I'd like to roll that 6% higher, but it's just got too expensive, so I've stuck with that. Let's move down here on the gloves. On this build, 4 ranks of Hammer of the Ancient, you really need that, and you need the attack speed. The crit chance as well, yeah. So them free stats on your gloves are what you're looking for. My crit chance on mine is low. You know, I got lucky with high attack speed and I had to roll. So I'm looking to change that. But yeah, again, expectant aspect. I hope you feel familiar with that. The pants, which are the next main damage reduction piece, I've got double DR. You're always looking for it to roll with at least double DR damage reduction. And the ones you're looking for is distant enemies and claws as a matter of course. Yeah, if you can get a triple one and then roll your 4-stat, even better. So as you can see, I got a triple one here. I got damage reduction from enemies that are bleeding. It's rolled low, but it's 7.4%. And then I've got the 2 other DRs. And then I've rolled armor on it, which is now another defense. There's room for improvement on that, but I hope it's self-explanatory. That's one of the pieces you need to look for your damage reduction on. On the feet. Now, on the feet, this is personal preference. I'm going to point out something on here. On the passive, as you can see, I've got evade charges. I will only wear feet with evade charges. All the others, I'm not bothered about. They're too clunky. It's a miss. Evade charges is one of the best skills you can get in the game. Yeah. If you want to know what evade is, we'll just show you. It's that. It's like a quick dash, like that. Doesn't do it so well in town, because as we know in town, I can't do that in town. Fucking stupid game. So yeah, evade charges. Try and get that. But again, on here, movement speed. It's your main place for the movement speed. I got lucky here. I got a max roll. 45 gen. You know, that does come with it. It wasn't my choice. Movement speed for 4 seconds after killing elite. That's nice. Yeah. You know, it'd be nice if it was 4 seconds before killing an elite. It might help me kill him a bit quicker. But anyway, joking apart. And the strength, again, I put the strength on. That's what it rolled to, and it got too expensive to keep rolling for anything better. So before we go on to the weapons, because they usually take longer, we'll go on to the amulet and rings. I'm not going to talk too much about the malignant gems. Every content creator has done them to death. But what I would suggest you do is put your Wrath in your amulet, and then on this particular build, have a vicious and a brutal socket for the other 2. And the ones you want to have on the Wrath, obviously the Barber. As you can see, I've got a 3.7 second one there with 15%, which is quite nice. On the Vicious, you want the crit strike increase. And on the Brutal, absolutely fantastic malignant this. 90, you want the damage reduction one. 90% of incoming damage is suppressed. Yeah. The damage that it explodes with doesn't do a great lot, but it's a nice bonus because it can apply effects onto the enemies as well. So it is nice. So them 2 are absolutely fantastic at the moment, and that's just a nice backup to have to actually get your Barber going because of the crit. The items themselves, I've sort of been playing around with amulets. I've got 3 on the go. So that the main 2 stats you're looking for, or I would recommend, is the 3 ranks of defensive skills and the cooldown reduction. Yeah, so that's what I would recommend. And then personal preference, play around with it. At the moment I'm running with this rank of Wallop. The Wallop is nice. The Wallop gives you multiplicative damage to bludgeoning weapons, and it would help if I bring it up because it's always Always nice if it's pointed out. So there we have Wallop. Your skills using bludgeoning weapons deal 20% times increased damage if the enemy is stunned and vulnerable. Yeah. So we have another skill which applies stuns. Uh, where is it? This one, concussion. So it synergizes well with that, you know, and we have various other synergies. Like I say, I'm not going to spend too much time going on with all that. So going back to these items, yeah, on the amulet, cooldown reduction, defensive skills. Wallop is nice if you can get that. I'd like to get 3 ranks of wallop, three ranks of defensive. You know, it's like hitting the lottery on this. Another alternative, a good one, is mercy, another passive. So yeah, but the defensive skills and cooldowns is nice. On the rings, you looking for what you usually look for. You know, you're looking for your crit chance, and then again, it now boils down to your personal choice. Also, what rolls, and obviously with the malignant sockets, that makes it a little bit more difficult to get what you want. But yeah, crit chance, damage, even defensive, if that's what you want. As you can see on that one, I've got crit chance with 1 multiplier, the vulnerable, and then I've got 2 other damage additives. On this, I've got crit chance again. I've no multiplicative there, but I did get the max fury, which was nice. So, and we'll talk about max fury and your your hammer revenge in a minute. Let's go down to weapons. Excuse me. So on the weapons, what I've done, you're looking for the multipliers and you're looking for the additive damage which are applicable to this build. Now, because of the change to the slow, let's bring it up. Let's just bring it up. Where was it? I think I took it off. This one, hamstring. I've actually took it off altogether. So your bleeding affects slow healthy enemies by 20%. They nerfed it. The problem with this build is, or with a lot of builds, not long after engaging the enemies, they're not healthy. So you're not applying that slow anymore. You only apply it when they're healthy, which is above 80%, is it? 85? 80%? I don't know, I can't remember. 80% it actually says on screen if I read it mistake. So yeah. So it's it's a point that you can spend is better spent elsewhere. You know, like I mentioned before, no mercy. You know, increased chance. You know, so it was a nerf. So what that means is that investing into slow or having items with slow on are not really effective because you're only ever getting the benefit of the additional damage when they're over 80%. Yeah, and a lot of times you're off cooldowns on everything. It doesn't take long to get them below 80%. So to me, it's a wasted stat. So I would try and avoid slow. Uh, but yeah, go for the multiplicatives, vulnerable and crit. Yeah. Now what I've done on these is normally you would go for like vulnerable, crit, and then damage to close, damage to stunned, damage to crowd control, fear additives, stuff like that. But on this, I've gone a different way. Uh, I've gone with strength and core skill. Now, core skill damage applies to your armor of ancients. Now, a lot of people look at this here, the strength and the attack power. The attack power, as I'm hoping everybody's aware now, is a useless stat on this game. I don't know what it's there for. It doesn't really have any relevance to your build, and it misleads people more than anything. Yeah, what I would do is mouse over and look at your actual Armor of the Ancient, where it says, on mine it says deal 28 to 34k. Yeah, that is your base value. Like you say, it's 90% to a concentrated area. So that is what I've tried to put up on this build slightly. And that way, when my multiplicative damage kicks in. It's multiplying a higher value before it starts with the additive damage and whatnot. So your core value weighs into all that. So it's a good replacement for the slow and the crowd control. Again, crowd control applies to taunt, stunned, your slows, which I said are ineffective, and stuff like that. So I just think that I thought I'd try the core skill damage, and it works, as you'll see. These are stat sticks. You don't use them, and if you just want to know, a lot of people might not know this. So when we go to the skill assignments on your on your tree, so your skill assignments here, you've got your lunging strike, which would normally use your slashing weapon on, say, or your faster weapon, and you've got your hammer here for your bludgeoning, right? But you can assign the weapon to it rather than auto assign. So what you want to do here is assign your bludgeoning weapon. The reason being is you benefit from your abilities for a bludgeoning weapon, which is down here somewhere. Here we go. So you get 20% extra damage from wallop, as we discussed before. So going back to the weapons itself, so you're basically attacking with this one all the time. These are stat sticks. Stat sticks means they're there for the stats that are on them. It's short for statistics. Sticks. I know it sounds silly to explain it, but not everybody knows everything. So again, on the two-handed weapon here, I've gone for the multipliers, and I got good strength on that, and I rolled damage to claws. It rolled high, so I left it because it got expensive rolling it, and it's like playing bloody pontoon or blackjack, depending where you're from, what game you call it. It was just a case of stick or twist, and I just stuck. I just couldn't afford to roll it anymore. You know, we're getting up to the realms where it's costing 10 million gold to roll, and I'm just not doing it. So, but yeah, it rolled high on claws. It's useful, it's usable. So that's what's that. Just going back to this, your main weapon as well, because what I've said that it's your main attacking weapon, you want to get the highest level that you can, yeah, and you want to get the highest rolled aspect that you can. And we'll come to aspects in a minute. These are stat sticks as well. I will suggest you use swords because of the crit damage. Yeah, and let's go back to the abilities. And if we go to where is it? The expertise. Just to let you know, I'm running two-handed sword. The reason being is for the bleed damage. It's just that it bleeds everything. Yeah. The alternative is to run the two-handed axe. The school of thought is that the axe being a multiplicative vulnerable damage applies more damage. I just prefer this. Yeah. There's no wrong, no right way. You know, I'm not going to get the lawyers onto me saying, "Whoa, what are you doing? Why are you using two-handed sword?" Because I fucking prefer it. Yeah. And the other reason being, if we go to the skill tree, the way you would normally apply a bleed is through your lunging strike. So if you're using lunging strike, I mean, you could be using this build with flare, whatever, but for this build purpose, lunging strike, and then there's a passive here. Lunging strike also inflicts bleed, so I could put a point into that, take this off, and put a point into that, and apply bleed that way, and then go and roll the axe. Yeah, but it's just the way I've done it. I've got the two-handed sword which applies the bleed, and then this gives me berserking, which gives me a 25% damage after I crit, which works in well with the barber because the barber procs on the crit. So I hope that explains the choices. The Hammer of the Ancients aspect, you really need this ancestral force. Luckily, I got a max roll one there. They buffed it recently. I'll tell you what, guys, it's really hard to get the max rolls one. That's the first one I got, and I was level 85 when I got it. I've had another one since in the last week or two, and that's the only two I've seen, and I've saved the other one as a backup just in case I do drop something to improve this weapon. So yeah, it's all right and buffing saying, all right, we're going to buff this aspect, but they can make it 1,000%. You know, it's like the Uber Uniques. It doesn't matter what it is if it doesn't drop for you. You know, it's no point getting through the season and dropping it in the last week. You've not had use of it. So again, it's just a stupid, absolutely stupid gameplay mechanic where they put something in that for most people is not going to be usable. But if you do drop it, yeah, all I would advise is make sure you know you put it on your right weapon. You know, the other ones I'll just quickly highlight them. I've got my Edge Masters on there, my Rapid on there, and I've got my Limitless there. Yeah, the Limitless on the two-handed weapons it doubles the values, whereas on the amulet it's 1.5 times. So I put the Retribution on there because that gives me 30% damage to stun. You know, and these are it's only the same, more or less same value, 60% there. There's not a lot of different preference again, and I put the expectant on my gloves. Yeah, which is 30%. So them are your main damage aspects. Your gloves, your amulet, and your weapons. Now, I like to think that some of these can be classed as damage aspects in certain ways. So, for example, direct damage against this, you know, it can stun them. Yeah. So that to me acts as an indirect damage and an indirect defense. If they're stunned, they're not hitting me. So it's a damage reduction. Also, if they're stunned, you know, I'm potentially doing more damage against them. So I'll just quickly highlight them. So that's the build. The Paragon board, I have my own way of doing it. I'll quickly run through it. I'm not going to go through everything, but I'll give you a quick look in case you are interested. You can always stop, pause it, and go through it. So this is a starter board. I'll just highlight each board, show what they are and what socket is, and you can see the values. Yeah, I'm not going to explain every decision, but that's pretty the usual start is exploiting that board. And then into the second board is a Blood Rage board, and I've got my might in that. As you can see, I've leveled a couple of them up quite well, and that's what I'm working on at the moment. So I've got my might in that one. I do like that, you know, gives me damage to bleeding enemies. It's also multiplicative damage for two-handed weapons. And as we said before, I've got my two-handed sword, so everything's bleeding. So I hope that explains that. So that's that. On the next board, we have the Decimator, and in that one, I've got my Marshal. It's not the best lift that in the world, but yeah, it's all right. It does all right in there. I get buffs to these, so in this board, the Hemorrhage board, we have the Crusher. I'm just working on that level in at the moment. Again, it gives me damage with maces, overpower. Not great overpower. I'd like to see overpower reworked a little bit to make it more attractive to take. I did try it when the game started. It can be very, very strong, but I don't know how they would deal with it because it can be so strong. If they make it too attractive, everybody's going to go for it, and it becomes the new meta, and everything else gets left out. So it's just one of those that if it does proc, it's a nice bonus. It's only on a 3% chance, so you don't usually tend to play into it. It's just there in the background. If you get it, you go, oh, that was nice numbers then. That must have been my 3% overpower. Yeah, but this is mainly for the damage with maces. Yeah. So that's that board. This board, the Warbringer, I've got the Wrath in it. I think that's really the set choice for this one. don't need to talk much about that. And I've just put this board on. I've just stuck it on. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do. I'm at level 90. What am I at now? 93, 94. The way I level up, I redo my boards. I just put anything into them. I do them at 60, 80, and then I do them when I get to end game. So for the moment, I've just stuck this board on. I've rotated it round this way. It's the flawless technique. I'm sort of ahead in this side because it'll open up my glyph socket here, and it'll open up my damage reduction here, which I think I'm going to need for the higher note for nightmares when I get to max level. So that's basically my board, my skill tree. I don't know, just in case anybody's there going, Mystic, show us your skill tree. Well, it's pretty standard, hopefully. I have got a couple of choices on that other people might not make. So I'll just quickly highlight stuff. Then you can see what I've got in. This again, just to mention this is your defensive skill. As I said on the amulet, +3 defensive skills. It adds +3 to all these. Yeah, alright, you get +3 to your ground stomp. You might want to swap that in, you know, instead of this, depending on your roles. But like I say, a lot of players play with that. I prefer the iron skin. So it gives you +3 points on these. Yeah, and then these as well. Just highlight stuff, then you can stop and pause if you want to see what they are. Now, when I was leveling, I did not, and I said I'd mention about Fury and whatnot. When I was leveling, I did not use Unbridled Rage. Yeah, the cost was too much. Now I've got a bit of a higher level, and I've got like a piece of equipment with extra Fury on and stuff like that. Where we're at now is the Fury cost currently is on here is 70. Now I'd like to get a change a piece out and get that down to about 58, 55ish. Yeah. Now my Fury is at 155. So what you really want to look for is that you can do at least 2 hammers from your Fury. So whatever that is, whatever that is, you want to be able to get 2 of them from your full cost. Yeah. So it just helps. What you've got to remember is as well is your hammer does more damage while it's at max Fury, and it also does more damage the more Fury you have. Yeah, because each point of Fury is multiplicative damage on your hammer. So yeah, you can, you know, depending on the rolls and the gears you get. I did have this down really low at one point to about, sorry, I'm highlighting the wrong one. I did have it really down where the cost on it was, I think it was 37, 38, and I could do once I was full, I could do about 4 hammers on it, you know. But the problem with that, then I'm not using my lunging strike. You know, you've got to remember to use lunge strike in between to get your damage reductions and stuff like that. So yeah, again, personal preference. That's how I've got it at the moment. It's working all right. I've not noticed any problem with the extra cost on my hammer. So that's basically the build. So what I'm going to do, we're going to pick a nightmare and just have a quick look. We won't do the whole dungeon, but I'll just talk about how I do that. Before I do that, actually, I'll show you how I manage my stash, because there's a problem here. It might give you ideas. Stash number 1, I saved my sacreds, my uniques. My friend's going to be going, if he's listening to this, he's going to be going, he's done it again, he's called them unique sacred. I keep doing it. So these are where I keep my uniques. As you know, I'm not wearing any. And the reason I'm not wearing any is because they're all shit. They're all crap. They're rubbish. Whoever designs them doesn't play the game of the builds. They've tried to rework 1 or 2, mainly like this Hellhammer. Yeah, and if I had the stash space, the gold, the resources, it might be possible that I would change my build to try it. But yeah, this game doesn't like work into that to sort of let you do that. It's actually the worst game I've ever played. That the rhetoric is to encourage diversity and build, but then when you're actually playing it, it feels like it's actually trying to stop you from doing. Oh, yeah, anyway. So yeah, tab 1. I keep my uniques and I keep a couple of pieces that I'm keeping an eye on that I think I might need. And like I say, I've got some alternative rings or backups. I haven't rolled them or done anything yet with them. But, you know, like I've got a spare brutal. There I need to get another vicious ring to keep as a backup, just in case. Different amulets. Again, like you can see, I have fury cost reduction on that one. So that ties into why my fury was lower. You know, that's pretty good. One, it's got counter-offensive on. This one's pretty good as well. It's got defensive skills, damage reduction from claws. So yeah, so that's what I've got in tab 1. Tab 2, I keep all these malignants. So I just organise them with backups and spares and ones that I might need for different builds. But basically, you only need these 3: the Rage, Revenge, and the Barber. As you can see, I've got one backup there. That's not a bad backup. It's a level 4, so it's only 14%. So that's the. On this one, I keep my aspects. These are my spare aspects. So I've got a tab for spares. On this tab, this is like my build aspects. So I sort of keep them in order so I can see what I've got. So I do my weapons first, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I do my helm, chest, hands, whatever as my next ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same down this side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then my neck and my rings, I drop down here to wherever I can fit them in. So that way I can sort of like just have a quick glance and see what backups I've got. So as you can see, I've got one backup of each of them. You know, they're not that's the max roll, but I can see there. Well, I've got Iron Blood. Sorry, I'm looking at Edge Masters. So I've got a max roll there, but I haven't got a backup max roll. So that when I'm farming or when I'm playing, if I drop them in Edge Masters and it's 16, 18%, I can quickly look. Is that better than what I've got? Yeah. It says, you know, there's no filter on this game, so you've got to sort of come up with your own system. So if you're laughing at me like, thinking what the fuck's he on about, that's the system I've come up with and it works for me. So yeah, if you don't get, if you're scratching your head thinking what am I on about, you know, go do one, I don't care. So in the last tab, I just keep gems. I've got rid of thousands of gems. It's again, it's pointless. I just keep them as a just in case. I've just stuck that Invoker and Ration there just to make space. The flasks, these are all like the higher level flasks, or the ones that drop in the game. As you can see, I've only got 6 iron skins. I didn't bother with the exploit on the quest to go and do them. That's all I've had. 6. I've never used any. I've had 6 since the start of the season. Yeah, nice drop rate, motherfuckers. So I keep them flasks here, and then the ones I keep in my bag are all the weak ones, just for the XP. And then I keep the class, what I call the class of race ones, like Undead, Demon, Beast Slaying, and Man Slaying. So I keep them in my bag to keep the weak ones for me XP. And then I put the better ones in here. So that's basically how I organise it. So again, if you're new to the game and you're scratching your head, you know, that might be of, you know, a bit of a help to you, seeing how somebody else does it. If you're not new to the game, you're probably looking at me thinking, what the fuck are you doing, Mystic? What are you doing there? You know, which is good. You know. So, right, so sigils. So these are what open up your nightmare dungeons. And everybody has a preference which ones they do, what they look for. I would suggest you search out some of the guide videos which recommend the sort of tier levels on them, which ones are the best to do. Now, again, it depends how you play the game. It might be that you play it for speed, so it might be like, for example, Sarat's Lair is one of the S tiers because it's fast.
But to somebody else who likes to do longer ones and kill everything literally in every dungeon, that might not be, you know, beneficial to them. Also, as well, certain players like to deal with certain affixes. I've sort of grown tired with those affixes that chase you. So have we got any here? Let's have a look. Have I got any in my bag? Yeah, one. So there we've got drifting shade. Yeah. So drifting shade, it chases an enemy,
Not while I'm
and
in town.
when it catches you, it
The
does
sword
damage to
is
you.
ready for
So what I
whatever
do
you need.
is I go to the blacksmith
You can still use these.
and I salvage it. So if this is what I do. Every time I get a few, I go through 'em and I look at what I like. So let's see, Halls of the Damned. It's not a favourite of mine, but let's not dismiss it. It's got crit strike chance, which is a good stat because that plays into my build. You know, it's good to have crit and the Barbie and everything else. Let's have a look at the negatives. No, the negatives are not too bad. So even though that dungeon isn't one of my favourites, and it's not ranked up there as a S tier, you know, a lot of people actually rank this one as a junk. I'll keep that, and I'll do it because you know it keeps it interesting to do different ones. Mercy's Reach. Now this one is regarded as a good one, so I think most of these are going to be decent ones now. But yeah, just check. Don't waste your time going into a dungeon and find it's got crap affixes that you can't deal with. Just take a couple of seconds before you go and you know pick the ones that you want. The other thing I'd say as well is don't be too worried about doing nightmares that
Don't rule
might
all
seem a
at
bit low
once.
level. There's a lot of guides out there on YouTube and on Reddit and all that like that tell you, oh, you should be doing them 10, 11 levels above yourself. That's true for the XP to optimize it because uh, they nerfed the XP. Yeah, again, the whole ethos around this game has been to slow the players down since it started. I don't care what they said. He sat there on what's his name, Ferguson, whatever. He sat there on a campfire chat and actually said, responded to the accusations that they've been trying to slow players down and denied it. Yet they go and implement the following week more mechanics to slow people down. Blizzard are known for this. They've always done it. They've done it in World of Warcraft and other games. So they can sit there and lie through the teeth. But yeah. So the XP, going back to the XP, it was nerfed. Where you could do a nightmare level 3 levels above you, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. To get 25%, now you've got to do like 10, 11 levels to get 15%. So the levels above you is basically, uh, you look at your level, I think you take 54 off. So I'm at 94, so take 54 off, that leaves me a level 50. So I need to be doing a level 50. So we've got this 49, so we're going to activate this one. And I'll show you what I mean by levels. This is 49. So we'll just go in and we'll see what level the enemies are. And I haven't put a flask on yet because I can never remember what enemies are in what dungeon. Right, so Seaborn Goddess, so it's probably going to be, probably going to be Ghost in it. I don't know this dungeon very well. Yeah. But you can see the levels are at 103. So we'll just clear these and then we'll move to the side. And I might need to turn the game sound down a bit. It is a little bit loud, that. So the mob level there was 103, and the sigil we used was 49. So as you can see, 49 from 103, 54. So like I said before, 54 is sort of good. Round. That puts the levels above me as 9. So we're not quite like the 10. Although the elites might be a higher level. So what we're going to do is just, while I'm chatting, I'm just going to do a couple of mob packs. I won't finish all the game. I won't finish the whole run. I want to show you some. I'm actually playing with one hand here because I'm scratching my head there. So that's how easy this build is to play. So as you can see, I'm playing vulnerable on them. Although I can't find my way through the bloody door. Interact. Yeah. I can't see that door was closed, so I'm trying to walk through it. So you've got your 3 shouts. I mean, a lot of people refer to this as a shout barbarian. So the way I have mine set up on my skill bar, I have my war cry first. I'll just mouse over them and you can see I have my war cry first, challenging shout, and my rallying cry second. So the way I sort of remember them in my head when you're playing is your war cry is the one that gives you the damage. So think to yourself, damage. This one's your taunt, but it gives you defense. So just think of it, damage, defense, and this one gives you movement speed and resources. It's the resources generation that's important. So it's damage, defense, resource. Yeah, that's the easy way. So a lot of guides out there will tell you which order to use these in. Yeah, I would say learn to use them in the order that suits yourself, because like I said, this iron skin gives you unstoppable, which gets you out of tricky situations. Also, the rallying cry gives you unstoppable. Yeah. Now, if you run into a fight, a lot of guides will say fire this off before you start a fight to get your regen going. Well, if you do that, you've immediately used an unstoppable. So now you've only got your iron skin as your unstoppable. So there's nothing wrong using it early on, but yeah, just bear in mind the kind of mobs that you're fighting. You might need 2 lots of unstoppable. So let's find a big pack and we'll see if we can show how this build works. So you just use baton, and as you can see, they're all going vulnerable. The splash damage is alright. It's not the best dungeon to do because we've got a lot of ranged on us. I want my health to go low so I can show you my iron skin, but we're killing them so easy. It's I have to keep stopping and looking at that because I've got the sun on my screen, guys. So and gals, guys and gals. So I can't see the minimap very well. Bad planning by Mystic that before making a video. I wanted some harder mobs. I wanted a big pack to show you. Oh my god, find your fucking way around this dungeon. Put in a slaughter. Let's not kill these. Let's see if we can drag a few together. My health's getting low, so I'm going to hit my iron skin. You'll see that the barrier goes on. You can see the benefit of that. And we'll skip round a few of these mobs. Couple of elites there. You know, I'm not even doing my rotate, as you call a rotation, but I'm not even doing my rotation correctly there. So, and here we go. What's this thing down here? So we've got a nice little portal here. Yeah, destroy the idol of the. Are we going to jump through that one? Let's jump through that. Hopefully we get a big fight. As you can see, I mean, it makes mincemeat of the packs. You know, providing you go in, get a couple of lunge strikes off, get your fury up, you know, and then your barber kicks in, and they're all gone. Just wished I'd picked a better dungeon to show you more packs. I mean, you can see the vulnerability, you can see the stuns. Where's he gone? Oh, he's there. There you go, stunned and dead. So I'm just going to portal out it for now. I don't need to see the whole dungeon. I'll finish it off. I'll finish it off without you. So yeah, just a few closing remarks. So that's the Hota, Hammer of the Ancients build that I'm currently playing. That's where we are at level 94. That hopefully shows you how easy it is. That was a level 49. I could probably, even at level 94, I could probably comfortably do a level 60 at the moment. I would have thought. I know the other classes are way above the Barbarian in respect to power and what they can do, and yeah, I'm not concerned about them because I'm not playing them. Yeah, if I was concerned about them, I'd roll them. Yeah, and I will play them. I will play them in the future. But for now, this is about the Barbarian. Uh, so let's think if there's anything else that's relevant before we go. So we've talked about expertise, abilities. I think that's about it. So if you've got any questions, or if I didn't explain anything, or something that interests you but you'd like to know more, and for me to go to in depth more about it, especially about the damage multipliers and the damage output, and you know why I use strength and core skills, you know, I'd be happy to do that for you. But yeah, so I hope that you've enjoyed that. If you do have any questions on the Barbarian, or if you'd like to see me Eternal Barbarian as a comparison, which is also a Hota but slightly built different, feel free to ask in the comments. But for now, Mystic Dude out.